In my previous video, I set up a projector and began working on my latest painting series. And in this video, I continue by taking us to a little adventure. So if you want to see part 1, don't forget to check out the link below. This is a really sad moment for my mum because she's been feeding this little one for a long time. So it's gonna be a bittersweet moment to say goodbye. But he's ready to go. So it's about an hour's drive from where we are to the hospital. I'm just setting up my car and we should be ready to set off pretty shortly. Like I said, it's a bittersweet moment, but it will feel really good to finally release her and she will be able to fly again. Next time I will see you, we will be at the hospital. Thawai me? Pian ji me? Pro the boy yalet. Now today is the next day. Yesterday was such an adventure, such a trip. It took a toll on both of my mum and I, emotionally and physically. I drove in total 4 hours. The first time was take the baby sequel, and then the second time we drove was when my mum decided our baby pigeon, she's been nourishing because his wing was injured. He's been with us for 2 years now, and lately in the past few days he's been really flying around in the spare room that we've kept him in. It's a really big room, it's like a huge storage room, and he's been flying up on the shelves, flying right into the door. So we knew that he was fully recovered, we knew that he was ready to fly. That was what we anticipated, and as you saw in the previous clips, that wasn't what happened. The ideal scenario, which was that as soon as we opened the cage, he would spread his wings and fly off into the freedom. It was really quite hard to watch because we had high hopes. He's not a timid pigeon, by no means. He's very talkative and he's very communicative. Just seeing him out in a big open barn like that, he all of a sudden looked really tiny little pigeon in comparison to the big, strong, outdoor ones that have been roaming around in that area. He wouldn't fly any higher than the little table stand thing that we put him on. We put him back in the cage again. The next time we tried to take him out to encourage him again, he didn't want to go out of the cage anymore. It was for him like the first experience of freedom, the first experience of knowing where he was at physically. Our expectations maybe were a little bit too high at the moment, and the fact that he's been inside for the past 2 years and not practicing enough flying, that is one of the main reasons. So we had to figure out the option. My mom, she's gonna help him fly. I know that sounds ridiculous, right? A human trying to help a pigeon fly, but the thing is, she has had experience before and she has recuperated many pigeons before, and I've released them before. So that's basically what we're gonna do for this little one. It's gonna be a training regime, an informal one, but you know, it's gonna be more intentional times with him, to practice with him, so that he will be able to be released in hopefully about a month's time, and I'll keep you updated as soon as he is released and as soon as he is out into the open world and flying again. It just took an emotional and physical toll on us. I think it's because of the optimistic, high expectations that we had. And it wasn't even just blind optimism. It's because we've seen him, at least in one room, doing his thing, flying and talking and, being a brave little pigeon. I think yesterday's experience put a lot into perspective. And afterwards, I really started to get ill. So if I sound nasally right now, it's because I am ill. It's been a really unexpected, busy weekend. I couldn't have anticipated going to that supermarket on Saturday that we would find a baby seagull and we would end up taking it home. And I think rescuing any sort of animals do put a physical and an emotional responsibility and a little bit of a strain on you. I don't do it full time. This is my little glimpse, little moment of experience. My mom does it full time with 7 cats and the little pigeon. So now I understand what people go through when they do have this sort of responsibility. One thing that I did wish that I would do, which I probably would do now in the future, is wherever I'm living, whichever city or town I'm living in, I am actually going to find the nearest rescue center and note it down with me, like the ones that I would actually get in touch with, have some options maybe, because you just never know when you're going to find a little chick, any other injured animal. It doesn't have to be a bird, right? So I want to be more prepared next time. That also means that I think whenever we do find it, we are more motivated to help them, because one of my biggest fears that I had in that moment was I don't know anyone who, besides the RSPCA in the UK, which is a charity for animals, I didn't know where else I would be able to find a rescue center for a little seagull. I was feeling quite desperate to really help them, but also a bit nervous and a bit fearful that, we wouldn't be able to take care of him and we wouldn't be able to find somewhere that could take care of him. We're really lucky, I think, to have these rescue centers and hospitals and support. We wouldn't be anywhere without these sorts of places. I think one thing that we forget is we don't just live in the world like by ourselves. I think it's so common for us as humans to become really insular and really egotistical, and we end up thinking that we are the ones who have the control, we are the ones who can make the decisions, but the animal world is so intelligent. We really take the animal kingdom, we really take the natural world for granted. Sometimes unexpected things like that happen. I wished yesterday we're able to release 2 birds instead of 1 only. I wish that it could have been a success story that I could have recorded for you and that we could have experienced, but it wasn't. And when we found the center and we saw the place and we thought about our little pigeon, we thought, this is the place where it's going to get released. What a turn of events that it was that, we, in a roundabout way, found this place. Maybe it is meant to be that the pigeon was meant to be released there. But that wasn't the case. It did teach us that he's nearly there, not quite ready, but very nearly there, and just needs a little bit more help. But in that moment, and I did feel it, to feel defeated, to feel like a higher power or God or the universe have cheated us in some ways because it didn't happen as we expected it to. Now when I've had some sleep, now when I've had a nice cup of hot drink, I can look back and I can say that everything happens for a reason and everything happens in its own timing. We can't expect things to work out the way we think we want it to, because as cliche as this sounds, there is a better timing, there is a better opportunity, there is a better way of doing it. Maybe sometimes things happen and we think it happens for a particular reason, but it might not be because of that one particular reason. It might be for a whole lot of other reasons interconnected with each other that we, with our humanly brains, would not have been able to connect the dots and think about, because we just don't have a grander, a bigger, and even more intentional, purposeful perspective. We can only think and feel and react and act and take responsibility so much, I think, as human beings. And I think that's when we can become really hard on ourselves as well. So yeah, a really cool adventure nonetheless though. We passed through so many local farms and cafes, and they were selling local fresh farm-grown strawberries and cherries. So we even stopped by to buy 2 bunches of strawberries and cherries, and we had a little road trip. And my mom and I were able to spend time with each other. This is probably one of the last few experiences of her being in the area I live in, being able to go on a road trip like this and be around this atmosphere. So nevertheless, it was a good experience. I don't think I myself could have even planned something like that if I were to think about having the last few special moments with my mom. So hats off to you, the higher power, the universe, the God, whoever watches out over us in a grander perspective. That's it. I'm gonna take a rest for the rest of the day as much as possible. The cats and I, we wish you a lovely day.